Hey there, Hidden River folk. It's Brandon again. Yep, me, the founder of Hidden River Roasters. Hey, I want to talk a little bit today about beans. Go figure, right? So today we're going to go over a couple different kinds of beans and roast levels and why you care. All right, let's get into it. Hey, welcome back because we were gone so long. I just wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about coffee beans. And there's probably a bajillion different varieties. There's a couple of main ones that you're going to find across pretty much anywhere you go. They're called Arabica and Robusta. Now, Robusta, it gets talked down on quite a bit, as it should, okay? I'm going to be completely honest with you. It tastes like burnt tires. Now, listen, if anybody has figured out how to roast Robusta and make it not taste like burnt tires, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know. I have racked my brain. I've tried it every which way but Sunday, probably even on Sunday. Anyways, so that's the one that I don't like. However, there are a couple benefits to it. It's higher caffeine content and is way cheaper. Okay, now Arabica, 100% Arabica, okay? So the two main types of beans are Arabica and Robusta. Yes, I'm pointing at a picture up here because I'm going to put a picture in there. I just want you to see the differences. They don't actually look a whole lot different when you're just looking at them. So that's the thing, is it's kind of hard to tell. You'll notice that the Arabica up there, you'll notice that it's a little bit longer, more of an oval. Robusta, it's a little tiny bit smaller, most likely depending on the bean, but it's a little smaller and it's very round. Not perfectly round, but much more round, okay? So I like the Arabica. The Arabica has a much sweeter flavor. It's got a much softer flavor and a much bigger variety of flavors, which we'll get into a little bit later in the video here when I'm talking about the different flavors in there and how you get them. So Robusta, it's a lot more harsh. It's got a lot higher caffeine content. I mean, you're at 0.8% to 1.5% caffeine in Arabica. You're all the way up to 3.5% or more. Studies vary depending on who did the study, but let's just say it's at least 2 times, if not 3 times more caffeine in Robusta. Side note, this is why a lot of people think that they can't drink regular coffee, is because a vast majority of big roasters, they will, in their blends, they'll add Robusta because you can increase your margin. Now, I'm not faulting them for that. It is a very good tactic because beans are getting really expensive. I'm not going to complain. It just is what it is. It's part of doing business. So anyways, but it is a very common practice to throw a certain number of Robusta in there, and you can hide it. If you're going a dark enough roast, you might be able to hide it in with some good Arabica beans and you up your margin. Okay, I'm not saying anybody does this. I know for a fact that people do this. I'm not going to say who because that's not important. We don't. We use 100% Arabica. I'm not willing to change that. Even if we do on occasion release a blend, it's always 100% Arabica. We're never going to put Robusta in there unless I can find a way to make it taste phenomenal. And then I'll let you know. If I do find that, or if somebody can help me out, I would love to know. So anyhow, so differences, they're grown differently. Arabica beans, they grow really high. We're talking 800 meters and up. I mean, that's high. So meters, at least 2,500 feet in elevation and way higher. Basically, they grow them on mountaintops. Robusta beans, they'll grow at sea level all the way up to about 900 meters, so 2,700-ish feet, whatever. So anyways, they're way easier to grow and harvest. I mean, mountainsides don't have a lot of big flat plains on them where you can grow a lot of coffee. So your coffee plantations, your Arabica plantations, they're going up a hillside. That's a lot of work. That's really hard work. You know what? We love our farmers. Okay, they work so hard to get us this amazing product. I'm not saying the Robusta farmers don't. They've got a lot more to cover, but it's a lot easier farming because you can literally do it on a flat field down at sea level. Okay, so that's a couple of the big differences in beans. I'm not going to go too deep into the weeds on the differences in beans. Just beside, aside from the couple things we've talked about, which is flavor, you've got fantastic, massive range of flavors with Arabica, And the only one I've tasted with Robusta is burnt tires to some varying degree, or burnt toast. Yeah, and I'm being honest. Like I said, again, I'm willing to learn. Always willing to learn. Anyways, higher caffeine content in Robusta by far. And also, it's easier to get, so it's a lot cheaper, and it's not always the best grade of coffee. Now, you can get specialty grade Robusta. Anyway, so I don't want to go too deep because I try to keep these short. I don't want to take too much of your time. I just want to teach you so that you can get the best coffee that you are looking for. So now let's talk roast levels. All right, most of us have heard, we're going to keep it simple. There's some fancy terminology when you get into darker roasting and stuff. I like light, medium, dark, and let's be honest, burnt. Once you go past dark, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, there is no French roast. French roast is an alternative way of saying, whoops, I forgot it and I burnt it, which I accidentally did last week a batch, and guess what happened to it? It went in the garbage. I will not allow that out of my roastery because it tastes like garbage and it's all oily. We're going to get into why that matters in a minute. So light roast is my favorite light roast that we do right now is in Ethiopia. So crazy good. I love the African coffees as a light roast. Some of your Central and South American coffees do really well as a light roast, but I love the African coffees as a light roast. So with a light roast, you're going to get more origin flavors than you are roast flavors. So what that means is origin flavors are the flavors that grew in there. So when we do tasting notes on the label and the bag, you'll see that we'll say things like passion fruit or caramel or floral, spicy, just different flavors like that, like really brighter fruity flavors. Those are origin flavors. Those literally grew in the bean depending on soil, elevation, how close it is to the ocean, believe it or not. It's all those factors that affect a flavor of a crop that grow in it, and then those are brought out when we roast it. You start getting into a medium roast. Now you're going to get kind of a mix between origin flavors and roast flavors. So you're going to get into more of the stone fruits, like our medium Mexico. It's fantastic. It has this awesome apricot flavor on the finish, salted caramel, some milk chocolate. I'm not even joking. And we don't add any of these. These were what was in there. They grew in there when we roasted it. That's what the reaction inside the bean as it's being roasted. These are the flavors that it brought out. Okay, so that's a medium roast. Dark roast, I love a great dark roast. Our Costa Rica, our Colombia, we do our El Salvador at a dark roast. So good. But you get a lot more of the dark chocolate, the baker's chocolate, more roasted flavor, a little bit of smoky on there. You'll get some oak taste. You're also going to get like a toffee, like a nice a toffee flavor in there too on a great dark roast. Now, our dark roast, some might say that's not a dark roast, that's a light roast, or a medium roast. I apologize. I disagree. It's our dark roast. And again, across roasters, that's the beauty of it is we get to choose what our roast levels are. So anyhow, I'm not saying right or wrong. It's just for us and what I like and what my customers like. They like it the way we do it. You go past that, you start getting burnt. Okay, so you start hitting second crack. Second crack is the rupturing of the cell membranes inside of the coffee bean itself, which then starts to release the oils so they can seep out onto the surface. If you've ever seen a shiny coffee bean, in my estimation, that's a bad coffee bean, and there's a couple of good places for it. The garden and the garbage. Again, you might love that. Don't be offended. It's my opinion. But I'm just saying, the reason I don't like oils on the surface is because the moment it comes in contact with air, it starts to oxidize. When you oxidize things, that's really bad. It starts to cause yucky things that give it this bitterness and this high acidity. And that is not a tasty flavor. If you've ever peeled potatoes, you got to get them in water or else they start to turn brown, right? Bananas, same way, open it up, give it a few minutes, starts to turn brown. Avocados, same thing. Well, you can't see it because coffee beans are brown, but when they're all shiny, they're already oxidizing. And guess where that oxidation goes when you brew that coffee? It goes into your cup. It is not a pleasant flavor. That's why when we stop at our dark roast, we're right at the point right before that where those membranes are really fragile, but we don't fracture them. They do not rupture. The oil stays in the bean so that when you grind it and brew it, now they're going to be released into your cup. And that's where those flavors are just fantastic in your coffee. So, little bit about that. I'm going to put pictures up next to me. You will see them. But if you have questions, feel free to ask about this. And again, a lot of different roasters do it a lot of different ways. I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I mean, granted, if you light them on fire with a blowtorch, that's probably wrong. It would be awesome. We did try it. It tastes terrible. Don't try it. It's like, that'd be like cooking a steak behind a jet engine. Just picture that. Anyways, so I wanted to go over that, tell you a little bit about roast levels, tell you why it matters, what you should be looking for, and also, steer away from oily coffees that are oily on the outside. I'm just telling you, it is not a flavor that you're going to enjoy. You might be used to it, but it's time to try something else, okay? All right, I'm glad that I was able to talk to you and share that with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like and a subscribe. Share us around so that other people can learn about coffee, because coffee's awesome. And hey, I hope you have an awesome day. And just remember, there is no excuse to drink bad coffee. All right? Go brew some.